Buon pomeriggio a tutte e tutti da Rizzoli Education e dalle lingue live. L'appuntamento di oggi riguarda un po' di ragionamento e un po' di proposte didattiche da proporre alla classe di lingue, in particolare durante le ore di lavoro sulla letteratura. Ragioniamo su questo insieme a Cristina Prandi, alla professoressa Prandi che adesso forse vedo comparire. Saluto, eccola lì. Ciao Cristina, buon
Ciao
pomeriggio.
Laura, grazie di avermi invitata.
Grazie a te. Allora, la professoressa Prandi, per chi ci segue da qualche anno, sta cominciando a diventare gradito appuntamento all'interno del lavoro che stiamo facendo con le lingue live, perché appunto con lei stiamo continuando un po' sotto traccia, ma non troppo, un discorso ed un lavoro che riguarda innovazioni didattiche o anche appunto spunti che poi in concreto si possono portare in classe, molte volte o quando è possibile anche attraverso l'ausilio delle nuove tecnologie, anche attraverso l'ausilio di formati, diciamo, e di tipi di lavoro che possono proporre dei percorsi un po' blended in classe, a casa, con la collaborazione dei ragazzi, eccetera. Quindi le lascio la parola, la professoressa Prandi è professoressa di lungo corso, insegna inglesi da molti anni presso appunto il liceo Giolitti Gandino di Bra. Chiacchieravamo prima di questa diretta, quindi si occupa non solo di nuove tecnologie di formazione degli insegnanti, eccetera, ma anche di CLIL e altre questioni. E quindi insomma ci piace averla tra noi perché è acuta persona informata sui fatti. Quindi oggi si ragiona di letteratura e di una parola che è legata alla multimodalità da portare in classe, magari avete sentito qualche volta, e di un tema che magari non avete approfondito, questo è il momento per farlo. Parliamo di choice boards e di tutto quello che rispetto alla motivazione in classe, alla valutazione, eccetera, questa proposta può portare con sé. Lascio prestissimo la parola a Cristina. Le modalità, per chi ci conosce, sono sempre le stesse. Per chi è collegato per la prima volta, prevedono che possiate in qualche modo affacciarvi e rivolgere le vostre domande alla professoressa Prandi. Le raccoglierò io alla fine della sua esposizione, scrivendo direttamente le vostre domande o i vostri commenti nella chat di YouTube. Questo è un appuntamento che prevede un attestato di partecipazione. L'attestato di partecipazione sarà disponibile nei prossimi giorni sul sito rizzolieducation.it. Dovrete collegarvi e aprire la pagina attestati e troverete lì appunto il vostro attestato, ma anche le slide che la professoressa Prandi utilizzerà in questa diretta. Per chi vedesse l'evento in differita, l'attestato sarà ugualmente disponibile, ma solo se si sarà effettuato l'accesso dalla mail di conferma di iscrizione entro la mezzanotte di oggi. La registrazione video invece resterà disponibile sul nostro canale YouTube allo stesso indirizzo al quale lo state vedendo in questo momento. Lascio a questo punto la parola a Cristina, raccogliamo nel mentre domande, commenti, curiosità e ci rivediamo alla fine del suo intervento. Grazie Cristina.
Thank you, Laura. Good afternoon, everybody. And today we are going to talk about, as you were probably noticing, talking with Laura, about multimodality. Massimiliano, could you just show my slides, please? Now, thank you. This session will be devoted to introducing the concept of multimodality. We will be talking about communication modes and multimodal texts, and about how we can integrate multimodality in our everyday teaching practice. As Laura already said, we will be talking about choice boards, that is a kind of visual organizers that are particularly good and fit for multimodality, and how choice boards can be assessed, because I know that assessing an artifact produced in a multimodal way can be quite daunting. The multimodality, choice boards, and so on are particularly fit for the literary classroom, but not only. So at the end of this webinar, I will give you also some other examples of how we can use choice boards. Now, let's get started. What is multimodality? Well, if you are watching this webinar, you already are in multimodality because you are at the same time listening to me speaking, watching the webinar on your monitor and reading the captions. But you are also looking at the pictures. So this is a multifaceted way of interacting with people. This is what normally happens in our classes because we in the last 100 years things have changed a lot, and although we are in the 21st century, we are still sometimes teaching as when we, in my case, I myself, as when we were students. That is to say, when we were using mainly two modes that were the visual and the spoken one. So by using articles, by reading on books, looking at pictures or the radio. Now, today, in the last years, the last more than 50 years, we are also interacting through TV, videos, online pages, and so on. So our students find themselves daily, as we ourselves find ourselves daily in a multimodal situation, in a multimodal environment. Although our experience, daily experience, is a multimodal one, in class we still use means that belong to a much simpler reality. So what is multimodality? Multimodality refers to the strategic use of diverse communication channels at the same time to deliver and reinforce learning objectives. What does this mean? That it acknowledges the existence of varied learner preferences. That is the visual, the auditory, the kinesthetic, and it leverages them by incorporating multiple modes in instructions. What does this mean again? This means that our students, as we ourselves, experience the world through different channels, and multimodality takes into consideration, acknowledges the existence of these channels, and asks us as teachers to take them into consideration as well. Now, the communication modes are 5. They are the linguistic one, that is the communication mode we are in when we speak or write, when we interact with spoken or written language, that is to say, in situations such as lectures, discussions, texts, and so on. The visual mode, the one that we are in with images, diagrams, charts, infographics, or videos. The oral mode that comes through the hearing as a sense, so music, sound effects, podcasts, for instance, or lectures, again, in their auditory aspect. The gestural mode, that is the movements and the body language. The spatial mode, that is the communication through the physical layout, the position of people or blocks of text, the space in the distance between elements, for instance, on a page. Now, we are almost never using just one mode of communication. Probably so. We are only using the visual one when we are looking at a painting or at a photograph. But when we are reading, for instance, a graphic novel or an infographic, we are already using two different modes, that is, the linguistic and the visual one. When we are watching and listening to a film or a video, we are actually using three modes. We are in three modes at the same time: the linguistic, the visual, and also the oral one. Listening to a podcast or the radio means that we are in two modes, the linguistic and the oral. Whereas there are four modes, the linguistic, the visual, the oral, and the spatial, when we are listening, watching and listening to a video or a short film, and we are at the same time reading its subtitles. Now, our books, the books that we use every day in our teaching practice, the textbooks that our students have, also use multimodality. This is a page from one of our textbooks, and you see that in this page we find the linguistic mode in the printed written text, but there is also the visual mode. There are illustrations in the page. There is a certain choice of typography that can be fonts, bigger, smaller, can be the use of bold, and also the formatting of the text. That is the fact, the text, for instance, in this box, grayish box at the top of the page, the text is given in form of a list of sentences. So the formatting of the text is also part of the visual mode. There is the presence of the spatial mode, because you can see the layout of the text sees blocks of text positioned in different parts of the page. This is another example. This time, this is a web page. Also, in a web page, we have different, we are in a multimodality because we have different modes. Not only the spatial mode with the layout of the text, not only the linguistic one with the printed written text, or the visual one with the choice of colors, the illustrations, and so on, but also the gestural mode, which comes out if when we have images, pictures in which there are movements of the body, which are presented movements of the body, or the expressions on the face of the people portrayed in the images. This is a meme, and also in memes we have the experience of multimodality. You see the special mode with the red band on top of the image with the layout of the text. You see the visual mode with the use of a photograph that also has a choice of typography connected. The linguistic mode, that is that has to do with the printed written text, and the gestural mode, which comes out with from the expression on the face of the cat. Another example can be this situation here. You are watching at a webinar, you're watching at a web page on which the webinar, the video is going on. And here you see there is the spatial mode, the visual, the linguistic, the gestural one, and in this case also the oral mode, which is the voice of the presenter, which comes through the loudspeakers of our PC or laptop. Now, when speaking of multimodality, we are referring to multimodal literacy. What is it? In the 1990s, a group of academics, the London group, identified the way we create meaning in a text as the result of the interaction of two or more modes of communication. As a consequence, the expanded notion of literacy beyond language learning became known as multiliteracies. Our students should therefore be able not only to comprehend a multimodal text, but also to respond to it and to create a new one. This does not equal to just showing them videos or images, as in the past we used to do, but it is essential to use multimodal texts for analysis, for debate, for discussion in our teaching practice, everyday teaching practice. This is not an optional fun activity, because the Ministry of Education this year with the M14 has clearly indicated the competencies that students must possess at the end of compulsory school. Therefore, we should all be aware of the fact that using multimodality in our teaching practice is of paramount importance. It is essential, therefore, in order to make our lessons more relevant, authentic, and engaging, to be able to create our own materials or choose learning experiences that include the features that I put in this infographic. That is, a multimodal approach should use authentic texts, should focus on collaborative learning, should give explicit teaching, but also should highlight the importance of inductive learning. We should be using digital technology and asking our students to respond to the multimodality of our experience with artifacts made by using also digital technology. So when we design our multimodal materials, we should bear in mind all these 6 elements in order to create a really comprehensive experience. Now, the reasons why we should integrate multimodality in our teaching practice, as you have already understood, are multifarious. Let's just remember that multimodality encourages active engagement because it requires our students to process information through different channels and create multimodal outputs themselves. So they are not only passive recipients of what the activity that we propose them, but they should also produce something themselves in the same multimodal way. We are offering a variety of modalities, and in so doing, we are catering to diverse learning needs. That is to say, we are ensuring that our students have multiple access points to understanding. Last but not least, we are giving them voice and choice in their learning path, because we are giving them the possibility of choosing the activities that they want to make. Now, we will, because I am particularly interested in this idea of giving voice and choice to learners, we will be focusing now on what I already introduced before as choice boards. Now, with the need for us educators to provide the students with more autonomy and flexibility in their learning experiences, and also because I know we have been inspired by Howard Gardner's theory of the multiple intelligences, visual organizers such as choice boards have become a popular strategy for empowering our students to take ownership of their learning journey. Now, in their visual organizers belong to a really a huge realm, but inside this wider realm, choice boards stand out as a dynamic and interactive tool for structuring our learning activities. As you can see from the picture, they are very frequently structured with the format of a grid or a matrix, from which students can choose from a menu of options those activities that they feel particularly keen on doing in order to show their understanding of a topic or a concept. The format of the grid enables them to move from one square to the other one, and each square or cell in the board represents a different learning task or activity. You will be able to see better what happens in the following slide, but just to give you a general idea, choice boards can encompass a wide range of activities. You can see we go from a genially presentation to short essays. It is also important to give the possibility of a free choice. So that activity that we did not think of, but that our students might think particularly fit for them to show their knowledge and understanding. Now, this choice board here is an example of an experimental choice board I gave my students of the 5th year of a liceo scientifico some years ago. We were at the end of the school year. I wanted to see if they had reached in preparation for their final exam, they were capable to reflect on the themes that we had explored during our literature curriculum and our classes from the Victorian to the modern age. So I proposed them to choose 2 activities amongst the ones that you can see from this board. The variety of activities that Choice Board provide our students with can be potentially endless. The important thing is that they are personalized, that they are self-directed as far as learning is concerned, and they are aligned with our learning and educational goals. As I said, each cell offers a specific task with the instructions provided for the students to be capable to be able to get to the end of the task successfully. Tasks should promote critical thinking, problem solving, and as I said already before, varied ways to show their understanding. As I said before, this was an experimental choice board. I was at the beginning of my career as a choice boarder. The following one I would like to show you, and this time, Massimiliano, can we move to the other choice? But this one here, as you probably can see, is slightly different. Was done using a web app called Genially, and enables the students to have access not only to the points that I decided each activity was worth of, but also to a detailed description. So this came at the end of a quite long unit about Hamlet, the tragedy by Shakespeare. So in this choice board, they had the possibility to choose a number of activities which added together gave 9 points in total. So they could choose between writing an interview to one of the characters of the play, drawing a scene from the play, and they had, obviously, drawing a scene doesn't have much to do with the English language, but this had to be accompanied by a short text explaining why that scene was important. Writing a journal entry, 2-paragraph journal entry for any main character. Watching a clip from a film and responding, writing their appreciation. Writing a timeline of the play that should cover all the main events and with a certain number of points mentioned. Creating a bubble map for 3 characters, in which a bubble map is another visual organizer that can be used for explaining, for making clearer from the visual point of view concepts. They were also asked to choose if they wanted to tweet. Now we speak of X, but to choose 2 characters from the play and write a tweet for each one. A presentation, they could also choose a presentation, because many students find themselves at ease with this kind of way of presenting things, or also recording a video such as a TikTok one, in which you give a brief speech as one of the play's characters. In these info button. From this info button, they got the criteria for assessment of their activities. And as you can see, the activities are varied. Because we are always assessing the language, all activities provided either the students had to give some kind of written report, or they had to record their voice. Another choice board that I devised for my student was this one, which I made after a unit about Dickens. Now, I gave you the tic-tac-toe format before, and this is obviously in a very classical format, but we can really use our imagination and our creativity in order to create choice boards that we like. In this case, they were given the possibility either to illustrate a scene, even using an AI art generation, to draw an interactive timeline, to devise a social media campaign to promote any novel to a contemporary audience. They could choose to create a thematic poster that visually represents the major themes in the novels that they had read. They had a free choice, and here are some hints for them, some tips on how to make their artifact as a free choice. Again, the character diary, which is always very successful. Cartoon time using a digital storytelling tool, or also they could draw if they are good at drawing. Giving a social commentary, that is to say, writing an editorial piece as if you were a Victorian era journalist. And last but not least, producing and recording an audio drama adaptation of a key scene from Oliver Twist or Hard Times. Here they found a rubric that I use to assess their works. Now, Massimiliano, if we can go back to our slides. Here we find an example. So this is a possible, I wanted to give you a possible example of a rubric that covers most of the artifacts, or all the artifacts. This rubric can actually be adapted in order to have a more a fitter one for your, if you have other types of artifacts, to have a fitter one for your activities. Now, how can you use this rubric? First of all, you see, you must define the criteria for the assessment. And the first criterion that we might think of is, are the required features present in that particular artifact? That is to say, does the product contain all the features required? If it is a presentation, the number of slides, I ask them of pictures, the duration in seconds if it is a video. Does the slideshow or the video actually work? Because sometimes our students share products that do not work very well. Was it shared correctly? Again, so you decide the way you want to give to this criterion. But if we think in a total score of, let's say, 100 points, we can say that we can give 10%, 15% of the whole score for that particular kind of criterion, that is 10 points out of 100, or if we are given 20 points, let's say 2 points out of 100. Now, another criterion which is very important is grammar and, in general, the use of the language. Now, the thing I would like you to bear in mind is that we will not be underlying with our red pencil each and every grammar mistake or spelling mistake. The rubric has more to do with the complexity of the work and with the process. We are all professionals. We teachers know that assessing means not only assessing the final product, but assessing the process which led to that final product. So a possible way we can give to the language and the grammar, a possible way is 30-40%, which is the highest way in the whole assessment rubric. So we are not underestimating the importance of the language here. Another criterion is the understanding of the subject. How much does the product show the student's understanding of the subject? Is it superficial? Is it quite in depth? We can think of weighing it around 20-25% of the whole score for the product. Another criterion can be a personal in-depth analysis of the work. This criterion does not always apply, because you remember one of the activities that the students could do was, for instance, the timeline. In a timeline, there is no personal in-depth analysis, not so much of it. So we can use the points that we give to this aspect if we are and when we are assessing a timeline for other criterion of the same activity. Instead, the personal in-depth analysis is of really great importance in an essay. So you see, we have to adapt. You will have to adapt. This is just to give you an idea of the criterion we might decide to choose to give to create the rubric. Another criterion is the creativity that the student showed, how well finished the work is. I personally like to leave some points to reward those students who really went the extra mile, so who really made the effort of sharing a work, an artifact that was the expression of their best capabilities. So the possible way to give the extra points is 5-10%. So it's out of 20 is 1 or 2 points, out of 10 is half a point. So it is not that much, but it is a recognition for the effort that the students have put into their artifact. If you have given a free choice activity, and I strongly advise you to do that because you'll be amazed by the results, by the kind of activity, but also by the level of expertise that our students sometimes show in contexts that we are not, we would not expect them to know. So it is really a pleasure then to see what they propose us as the activity, the task that they chose to express their knowledge of that particular topic. So if, as I was saying, if we give free choice activities, we will probably need an extra criterion specific to that activity, obviously. Maybe we have students that, I don't know, play the piano, and they might feel inspired to produce, to create a short piece of music. So we will need extra criteria for that particular artifact. So in this case, according to the artifact submitted by the student, you can either use the previous the previous criteria, adapting them, or create a new one for for that specific work. Now, you might not feel particularly confident in creating your own assessment rubric. So, one thing you might do is ask for advice. ChatGPT, Gemini, other AI tools such as, for instance, Magic School AI. Also, there were already in the past some tools such as, for instance, Rubristar, that allowed us teachers to create our personalized rubrics. So, if you do not feel confident in creating your own one, if you decide that my example is just an example, but you want more a different kind, maybe a more articulated kind of rubric, you can ask the Gen AI chatbot for advice. You will be given the possibility of personalizing, because I advise you never to accept what the AI proposes you without personalizing it, but you can do that. And this can be a way through which we start reflecting on how we can assess our students. Now, as I said before, choice boards, because I teach literature, doesn't mean that choice boards can be used only for literature. You might decide that you want to use them to teach a microlingua, that is English, for special purposes, or you might want them for to use them for citizenship, a unit about citizenship, that is educazione civica, or even for a CLIL teaching unit. Now, here you find some examples just to give you the idea of how we can use choice boards in a wider way. Now, you'll see that there are sometimes activities in the form of role playing, for instance, that are oral activities. In this case, you can ask your students to record themselves and to share the recording. But let's take, for instance, this activity that was imagined for a business English class. The focus is on English for professional communication, on the workplace language, and on business etiquette. And you can use activities such as email writing, role playing with a sales call, the creation and presentation of a short pitch for a product or service, a business news summary, the meeting minutes of a meeting. Now, this is an example. Here you find another one that has to do with travel and tourism. hotel booking role play, again, the simulation of a conversation between a guest and a hotel receptionist, or creating a travel itinerary for a 2-day city tour. Again, the instructions I gave here are really summarized, are very simple. You can make the activities much more challenging. Obviously, always uh, bear in mind the level of your class, obviously, and leverage the activity to the level of your class. In this case, instead, you find a choice board which can be used, for instance, for a citizenship unit. That is to say, also useful, for instance, for a biennial. And therefore, here the focus will be on vocabulary and on the spoken also language related to environmental issues, sustainability, and nature. Again, create a 1-minute public service announcement script that encourages people to protect the environment and then record the announcement. Develop a pitch for an eco-friendly product. Go outside, take photos or look at photos and create a vocabulary list. You see the level of this choice body, level of the language is A2. It's not particularly high level, can be used in a biennial at the beginning of a third year of a secondary school. Last but not least, another example referring to English for digital literacy and technology. In this case, what we see are again different kinds of activities that we can propose our students both in the written and in the oral form. They can be asked. They can be asked to create a short script, but also much more interesting, to write a review of a favorite app or digital tool. Again, if in a class we have, for instance, DSA students, we can ask them, instead of writing the review, to give an audio review, a video review. The alternatives can be creating a tech vocabulary quiz, or make a list of tips for staying safe online for the Internet Safety Day, or researching pros and cons for a debate. This is a slightly higher level, but we can have a good class. So we can have 2 students, or the 3 or 4 of them, working together on just one artifact. Or we can ask them to write a blog post on a tech-related topic, such as, for instance, top 5 tools for language learning, or how to stay focused online. Now, this is what I wanted to talk to you about. Here at the end of my slides, you'll find some references. Oxford University Press has really worked a lot and has written a wonderful position paper that you see mentioned at the beginning of these references. But for those of you who are interested, who got interested in multimodality, I also give you some other hints for books and articles that you can find online. Now, Laura, quando vuoi, se ci sono domande.
Eccoci qui. Allora, grazie Cristina come sempre per tutto il percorso di scoperta e anche la possibilità di ampliare un po' le vedute rispetto a 2 parole chiave che mi sono sembrate voice and choice, e quindi dare voce agli studenti, ma anche
Decisamente.
scelta. Ed è una maniera per interpretare molto bene, a mio vedere, la didattica inclusiva, ma anche il rispetto delle possibilità di scegliere che cosa fare anche in base a quello per cui ci si
Sì,
sente non solo più forti, ma anche magari più incuriositi o più portati. Quindi mi
sì.
pare un'ottima possibilità. Una domanda riguarda appunto diciamo la tua esperienza in classe a questo punto e quindi rispetto a questi 2 aspetti, che sono aspetti che magari certe volte un po' nella fretta, un po' presi da questioni di tempo, di cose da finire, eccetera, magari vorremmo tanto coltivare di più e invece non possiamo tanto farlo, ecco. E quindi rispetto alla tua esperienza di classe, l'aver dato o il dare voce e scelta agli studenti con attività di questo tipo, quali, risultati ha dato? Quindi, cioè, hai avuto un inizio difficile con gli studenti
Ma
ai quali non è sempre, diciamo dato di scegliere, quindi forse era inaspettato un tipo di lavoro di questo genere, ma poi insomma qual è la strada e il percorso dello
Ma
studente?
allora, gli studenti di solito quando capiscono come devono allora, come dici tu è un inaspettato, perché tendenzialmente, come dicevo anche all'inizio di questo incontro, noi tendiamo ancora a lavorare anche per risparmiare tempo, perché non abbiamo tutto questo
Mh,
tempo, tendiamo ancora a lavorare con i metodi che ci sono più congeniali, che sono quelli che conosciamo da più tempo, che quindi veramente riusciamo a usare in modo efficiente. Gli studenti di conseguenza sono abituati in tutte le materie a lavorare in un certo modo, un pochino più vecchia maniera, diciamo, meno multimodale. Quando gli si spiega molto bene come devono lavorare, perché è chiaro che io non posso dirgli fai il
okay,
video e aspettarmi che loro devo essere io molto chiara nelle mie spiegazioni, cioè il video dovrà avere una certa lunghezza, dovrà contenere certi tipi di contenuti sviluppati, poi loro sceglieranno come svilupparli, però io gli devo dare una traccia, anche perché altrimenti se no nella mia rubric
mh,
io non so poi come andare a valutare.
certo.
Infatti la rubric che ho condiviso era anche proprio per far capire come poi gli studenti avrebbero dovuto lavorare. Quindi diciamo inizialmente loro sono un po' perplessi, ma neanche tanto, perché devo dire io ho avuto grosse soddisfazioni da queste choice boards che di nuovo ho incominciato un po' timidamente a usare in classe, facendo anche degli errori all'inizio, perché infatti la prima che avete visto era pesantissima sulla parte scritta, no? Perché avevo paura che poi non scrivessero abbastanza e di non riuscire a valutare questi artefatti. In realtà poi mi sono resa conto che si potevano valutare assolutamente in modo il più possibile trasparente e il più possibile oggettivo, perché rendiamoci conto che la valutazione oggettiva di per sé non esiste, ma neanche la valutazione di un multiple choice text non è oggettiva, perché se io non ho creato le domande con i distrattori in un certo modo non sarà mai totalmente oggettiva. Quindi, chiusa questa parentesi, io poi quando ho proposto questi lavori ai miei studenti sono rimasta senza parole. Allora, faccio degli esempi, mi spiace non averli potuti, per motivi di tempo anche, non averli potuti far vedere, ma per esempio su una choice board su tutto Shakespeare, nella free choice, una mia allieva m'ha detto: "Ma io, c'è in Othello c'è questa faccenda del fazzoletto che di Desdemona con, le fragoline sopra e così, che è poi proprio l'oggetto, il catalizzatore, no, della gelosia di Othello e quindi che fa succedere poi una serie di disgrazie. La ragazza m'ha detto: "Io a me piace ricamare e io vorrei ricamare il fazzoletto di, Desdemona", ma mentre lo ricamava, che di per sé uno dice: "Okay, carino", si è ripresa mentre ricamava questo fazzolettino con le fragoline, tra l'altro
Quindi
molto, molto
ha
carino.
mantenuto il suo impegno.
No, no, ci ha messo ore e ore a farlo, perché poi lei si è ripresa f col time lapse e tutto, cioè tra l'altro anche un'abilità tecnica che io
Molto alto.
personalmente già non avrei avuto, ma intanto che ricamava raccontava una storia, quindi poi raccontava la storia di Desdemona che aveva ricamato quel
Sì,
fazzoletto
sì.
lì, ma in realtà per un altro, prima di Othello, con cui non era finita benissimo. Un'altra allieva che, studia al conservatorio, molto brava, abbiamo fatto Hamlet e m'ha detto: "Io quando abbiamo fatto il soliloquio To be or not to be, ho veramente capito che se io fossi stata Hamlet, mhmm, non avrei parlato, avrei composto." E ha composto un bellissimo pezzo che ha poi, suonato, chiaramente si è registrata e poi ha messo come, chiamiamoli sottotitoli, i vari lo scorrere del, soliloquio per farci capire a noi poveri cristi, perché anch'io sono una povera mortale come tutti, a che punto eravamo nella storia
Bene.
ed era veramente commovente. È
Quindi
chiaro che non
dove la motivazione viene solleticata, effettivamente la volontà di approfondimento senza essere
assolutamente.
costretti è
E
cosa
poi
che
se lo ricorderanno per sempre, cioè quello che loro io son certa che i miei studenti che poi faranno medicina e tutt'altro nella vita, non potranno ricordarsi le mie lezioni di letteratura, ma quello che io son certa che ricorderanno è la volta che hanno ricamato il fazzoletto, la volta che hanno composto il brano, la volta che hanno scritto anche a volte un saggio, andando a fare certi tipi di ricerca e quello è un risultato veramente inaspettato. Ha avuto un successo che io non credevo avrebbe avuto ed è il motivo per cui lo continuo a riproporre. Sicuramente ci vuole un momentino a valutare tutto, quindi non è che uno tutto l'anno propone choice boards, via una all'altra, se ne fa magari una per
momenti
quadrimestre.
scelti, ecco sì.
Esatto, in modo da dare anche una valutazione che sia un po' più a 360 gradi della preparazione dello studente, non solo l'orale, lo scritto e magari il PowerPoint.
Ecco, questo mi fa
Quindi
venire in
no,
mente, Cristina, anche appunto un passaggio un po' artifacts possibili, un po' appunto la possibilità di scelta, ma anche la voglia, nel momento in cui ti viene bene una cosa, di raccontarla attraverso la tua multimodalità, cioè la tua di studente. Mi viene in mente un passaggio possibile, o meglio un suggerimento possibile che porta da attività di questo tipo a possibili selezioni per quello che adesso viene definito capolavoro e quindi in qualche modo,
esatto.
può avere senso
Infatti il
questo.
fazzoletto è diventato il capolavoro dell'anno
Ecco,
scorso di quella mia allieva lì,
eccolo lì.
perché il concetto di capolavoro con ai nostri studenti fa venire sempre un po' l'ansia, perché è un
È
parolone,
la
no,
parola
cioè
che
loro
un
di
po' sì.
esatto, ma io non farò mai un capolavoro.
Mh.
In realtà se tu, gli fai capire che il capolavoro è quello, cioè il rispondere in modo rispondi in inglese, in modo reagire in modo multimodale al mondo multimodale che li circonda, secondo me è esattamente quello che, era nelle intenzioni di chi ha pensato il concetto di capolavoro.
Ecco, e un'ultima cosa che appunto, mi viene in mente riprendendo sempre quello di cui hai parlato, quindi torno a voice and choice e alla multimodalità e anche a tutto questo aspetto gestural a cui forse abituiamo poco i nostri studenti.
Sì,
Io per primo appunto, andiamo appunto, a gesticolare per dare un senso alle nostre parole, ecco, e quindi voice, choice e gestural. La domanda è possibili riutilizzi, cioè ha senso in una chiave multimodale pensare anche ai possibili riutilizzi di tutto il materiale video che molto spesso i nostri corsi o i nostri materiali hanno, silenziandolo, cioè può essere lo studente che fa un esercizio che prevede il dare voce perché si lavora su video
Assolutamente.
silenti o che
Sì, sì,
silenziamo?
sì, sì. Sì, sì, no, l'uso del materiale video adesso non necessariamente per la produzione di un artefatto, ma in modo più ampio all'interno della pratica didattica nostra quotidiana, è assolutamente importante ed è importantissimo anche l'uso del video, silenziato, perché lo possiamo usare in tantissimi modi diversi, come, warm up, per un'attività facendo tra l'altro il video silenziato ha un sacco di vantaggi.
Punti.
1, non distrae con la lingua parlata da quello che succede. È chiaro che bisogna avere scegliere un video che
Indicativo.
abbia certe caratteristiche, però lo studente si focalizza meglio su quello che vede. Qualunque livello di è molto più inclusivo, perché qualunque livello di studente è in grado di interagire con quello che vede, quindi lo studente, che ne so, BEST, DSA, in una classe di multilivello in cui magari io mi trovo col ragazzo appena arrivato in Italia, eccetera. Partendo dal video silenziato, io posso fare warm up, facendoli concentrare anche solo su degli elementi, no? Produrre, quindi dare delle liste di vocaboli, poi alla fine produrre delle liste di vocaboli, ma posso anche mettere in piedi lo storytelling, che adesso è assolutamente un po' uno dei refrain, delle parole chiave della didattica degli ultimi anni, a qualunque livello, dalla primaria addirittura dalla materna fino all'università. Quindi assolutamente sì, il video scelto bene,
Mh.
utilizzato, silenziato, come warm up, come invece buddy della lezione o come chiusa della lezione su certe tematiche, per esempio. Ci sono tantissimi video carini collegati ai materiali che noi abbiamo, che tante volte non riusciamo
Lo
a
usiamo,
sfruttare.
sì.
Non è detto che dobbiamo neanche usare tutto il video, magari ne possiamo
Questo
usare anche solo un pezzettino, magari il video è un po' lungo ed è il motivo per cui non riusciamo a usarlo in classe. Però se i primi, che ne so, minuto e mezzo ci servono, assolutamente sì.
assolutamente sì. Quindi multimodalità, ma anche multipossibilità. E quindi chi lo sa che
Sì,
magari questo sia un
assolutamente
inizio
sì.
di ragionamento di appunto, che parte dalle choice boards, ma che non si esaurisce qui. E quindi insomma
No,
ti
assolutamente.
aspettiamo se avrai il piacere di stare con noi per prossime puntate, chi lo sa, eh?
Benissimo, chiamatemi e io ci sarò.
Io ti ringrazio molto, ringrazio tutte le persone che sono state con noi e ci diamo appuntamento al prossimo Le lingue là.
Alla
Buona
prossima.
serata
Grazie
a
mille,
tutti, grazie
arrivederci a
mille.
tutti.
Arrivederci.